Good morning and welcome to KTZed Redemption, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I am your slightly frazzled host, Jay Edgar, and I am joined on the other side of the screen by the wonderful KTZed. Katie, I hope you had a better day than I did today, especially in the last half hour.
Well, today was great. The last couple of days, well, you know, stuff happened. Some people did some things.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I caught that or not. We'll have to talk maybe a little bit more about that off air.
Well, it was Twitter, and they were mean to me.
Oh, that one.
2 accounts.
In a day. I mean, according to what I saw, the
24 hours. Yeah.
According to the one, what I saw, the one is actually still active. It's just they're trying to make sure that it's actually you.
I have not. I can't. It's a long story, but I cannot access it.
Yeah, I know. We went over that a little bit off air. Well, when it happened, actually. So.
Yeah, like 1,300 people just gone out of my life. I'll never have them again.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like somebody went in and changed the settings in our appearance. I wonder why that is. I'm looking at this. I'm like, why is the text so big?
You just have to deal with it for the next 2 hours. You can put it back later.
Well, we've got a lot to get to today. I mean, this is not going to be one of those. It's not going to be one of those interesting aspects where we had one topic for the entire week like we had last week. We've actually got some stuff to go over this week, which technically we had some stuff to go over last week, but, well, you know, things happened, and all of a sudden now we're all talking about one single issue through the entire week. So, I mean, it's been an interesting week as far as news goes. So, I mean, we can come back and look into some of the stuff as well. Biden got up and made a speech. He made a speech blaming all of his problems on the ultra-right, the ultra-MAGA, per se, and the great and glorious MAGA king. He went and decided that he needed to go back and blame all those. Furthermore, giving another wonderful nickname to people who really like to take their memes and go with them. So it's one of those things. And we're actually going to be talking a bit about the nickname in the lightning round, too, before we even get to that. But we'll talk about that and some of the economy things that are going on with that. Abortion is still flying through. A Senate bill went through and failed this past week. So we'll talk just a bit about what was in that, actually. I've read the whole thing front to back. I don't know if you have or not.
I don't read.
I didn't think. So we'll talk about why that didn't go through and what that was, and also on the far other end of it, the Louisiana bill, and why that also is not going through either. So, plus Lori Lightfoot decided that she needed to come out and make a call to arms as well.
Insane. That woman is insane.
One of the more interesting stories out of the week is the fact that it's come to light, and we've known about this for a while, but this is now first making national news right now, that there is a major baby formula shortage across the country, and now it's out here. So we'll talk a bit about why it was ignored before, why we're talking about it now, and some of the reasons for why it's getting worse right now. The Ukraine is back in the news once again. We'll be talking about the aid package that was supposed to go over there. It's still going to go over there. It's just not going to go over there right away. The Lend-Lease Act is coming through, and Finland is actually moving to join NATO right now. Looks like they're making moves. Looks like it's about to happen. Plus, we'll start off today with the big news of the last 3 days, and that is the fact that there has been some gun violence right before an election day. In an election year.
Surprise.
Shocker, shocker. In 3 fairly gun-unfriendly areas as well. So, once we get through the lightning round, that's going to be the first thing we talk about and what happened there. What that means, we're going to be focusing on Buffalo, but we're going to talk a little bit about Laguna Woods and Milwaukee as well. It is going to be all this and more over on KTZed Redemption. Thanks for checking us out live over on YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. I don't know where it streams to Twitter, but they assure me that it's going over there. You can also check us out. If you can't catch us live, you can catch us on demand over on YouTube, over on BitChute and Rumble. And under most weeks, the audio platform as well. I did not upload this last episode to the audio platform. I will be amiss to admit that I was a little bit shaken by our friends over in the chat. The Irish guy that wants to debate you so bad.
Yeah, he never got back to me about that debate, and now that Twitter account's gone, so I don't know if he'll ever find me again.
I'll admit I got a little bit rattled by that, and I don't usually like to admit that, but it's like I kept losing my place. I'm like, what's going on here? Plus, I was, first day in keto too, so I was in a little bit of a keto fog on top of it. So it was not my best work. Episode 19 will go back up for that too. So go and check us out on those platforms: Spotify, Apple Play, Stitcher, and Google Play. So you can go check us out on all those platforms. If you'd like to see us on platforms like Pandora or any other podcatcher, let me know, and I will do the work to get us into those as well. So go and check us out in any of those platforms, on demand, on the go, or, well, live and in person. We've got a lot to start with, though. So with the exception of saying rip to your Twitter, are you ready to go for it?
Yes. It's so sad.
So sad. All right, let's get right into it. So we're going to start here. Actually, before we blackpill ourselves completely, I thought that you'd like this one here. This is a funny exchange that happened over on Twitter. I think this was a couple days ago. This was over on Saturday. Elon Musk tweets out, "Whoever thought owning the libs would be cheap has never tried to acquire a social media company."
I like that, Elon. I mean, I don't like everything about that, Elon, but I do enjoy somebody who has a sense of humor. So, and he's got good tweets. He's like probably my favorite account of a famous person since Trump has left the platform.
Well, Tim Young actually went on and took this a step further and said, "I don't need notifications for Elon Musk tweets. I just know it happens when I hear shrieking in the distance from the left."
Isn't that the truth?
And apparently Elon thought so because he responded back to Tim with a laughing emoji and a bullseye emoji.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was an exchange I thought you guys would kind of enjoy with that. Looking in, this is one of those situations of if I had to see it, you have to see it. So
why do you do this to me?
This is apparently the new Democratic strategist. He just joined Twitter in April of 2022. He's already blue-checked. He's already verified, and he is angry. Why is he angry? Well, he's put out a new video almost every day of him doing this Ron Perlman thing over and over again, and I chose the best one. So let's listen to what he has to say about our Supreme Court justices.
I have a question for the Department of Justice. When Amy Coney Barrett said she'd uphold Roe v. Wade in her confirmation hearing, she lied. Lying under oath is perjury, and perjury is a federal crime.
I'm not hearing him.
Why didn't you take any legal action against her?
Hold on, I need to fix that, because I didn't do that at the top of the show, because I was trying to get Zoom fixed. Oops, not that.
Come on, Ed, get your shit together.
Working on it. Shit is together. Let's try that again.
Thank you.
I have a question for the Department of Justice. When Amy Coney Barrett said she'd uphold Roe v. Wade in her confirmation hearing, she lied. Lying under oath is perjury, and perjury is a federal crime. Why didn't you take any legal action against her? When Neil Gorsuch said he'd uphold Roe v. Wade in his confirmation hearing, he lied. Lying under oath is perjury, and perjury is a federal crime. Why didn't you take any legal action against him? When Brett Kavanaugh said he'd uphold Roe v. Wade in his confirmation hearing, he lied. Lying under oath is perjury, and perjury is a federal crime. Why didn't you take any legal action against him? Merrick Garland, your decision not to prosecute is going to cost women in America their reproductive rights. How dare you call yourself the Department of Justice? Do your job. Prosecute the Republican justices. I have a question.
Is that a filter or is that what he really looks like?
I'm pretty sure that's what he really looks like.
Ew. Thought he had some sort of cartoon filter on himself.
I thought he was just trying to be Ron Perlman. I mean, look at the dude.
Yeah, gross.
But yes, this is the new Democratic strategist, and he literally, that's all he does on his Twitter account is goes and makes videos like this telling us how angry he is.
I mean, I don't care how angry he is. Like, all right, have fun with that.
What was funny about that, too, is, I mean, this is not the first time we've heard about committing perjury under oath with these confirmation hearings, and that delightful gentleman over at Don't Walk Run Productions did a very good breakdown of why they actually didn't lie under oath.
Oh, yeah, I like that dude. I forget his name, but yeah, he does good work.
Andrew.
Andrew, that's right. Andrew.
So, yeah, he did a really good breakdown of how that works, and they actually didn't say that they were going to uphold it. They basically said that they couldn't comment on a pending case, and given the fact that everybody who questioned them was absolutely fucking obsessed with the case, means that that was going to be a pending case. So we will.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, all of them answered that they will follow the law. Like if that's the law, they'll follow the law. If it's not the law, then yeah. So. And lying under oath doesn't mean you can never change your mind for the rest of forever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with myself from 10 years ago or however, like a year ago even.
Are you ready for the coronavirus to come back?
I was hoping it would.
From CNN, coronavirus wave this fall and winter could potentially infect 100 million, White House warns. This fall, right in time for, what's happening this fall?
The midterms.
Something where we might actually be afraid to go out for something that we all want to participate in, wouldn't you say?
Well, you can always just give your ballot to one of those mules. There's, I think, 2,000 of them.
That's possible. The Biden admin is issuing a new warning that the U.S. could potentially see 100 million pinko pox infections this fall and winter, as officials publicly stress the need for more funding from Congress to prepare the nation.
Jeez. I mean, what happened to the winter of, what was it? The winter of death or something?
Oh, I mean, there are no more unvaccinated people out there because we all died.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So we got to move on here. Did you see anything off of this wild story that I tried to get to on Contemporary, but they kept flooding me with abortion stuff? An Alabama corrections officer who escaped with inmate has died in the hospital, sheriff says. So this is the Vicky White, and what was his name? His last name was White too. Casey White.
Yep.
Apparently orchestrated an escape from prison for him, drove off, and when they got caught, she took her own life, didn't she?
Yeah, she shot herself, and then he freaked out and it's like, please save my wife. I'm like, when did you get married, dude?
Which is interesting because they were supposedly not related, but they still had the same last name.
Yeah.
But this was following on an 11-day manhunt that gained widespread national attention and saw hundreds of tips flood in from all corners of the country, which, of course, they always do.
Yeah.
Whiting said the duo were believed to have been in Evansville since May 3rd. It's hard to believe they've been there that many days and were lucky to have stumbled upon them today. I believe that was Evansville, Indiana that they were in.
They were, yeah.
But, I mean, it's just wild from start to finish. Because apparently she was supposed to be transporting him, and then she just took off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe it was an auto mechanic that recognized him, and he was like 6 foot something. Like, he was a really big dude, like hard to miss. Like if you see somebody that tall, you're like, is that an NBA player? Like you notice them. So I don't know how he thought he was going to get away. Like you can't make yourself shorter. You can't make yourself inconspicuous when you're 6 foot whatever,
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it doesn't weird me out just because of experiences I've had in my life where two people who are not related can have the same last name. I mean, my last name, and I have a very common last name to begin with, but my ex-fiance's parents actually also unrelated but had the same last name in a much smaller community.
I've never had a common last name, so I don't know what that's like.
But yeah, so it's wild. He's back in custody. She has passed away, and I guess we'll never know what the actual motive was behind all this.
Sex. The motive was sex. I solved it.
Monsieur Ball says love conquers all.
Yeah.
Not so much, actually. What else do we have here? From the Daily Wire. Are you ready to get enraged? Because we're going to move into that segment.
Always ready. Every time I log in on Monday nights, I'm ready for it. You do it every week.
Oh, that's for surprise stupidity, which I think this one's going to be more fun than enraging, but this one's enraging. Chest binders and packing underwear featured in Target's new Pride Month collection. Target will be selling breast binders and packing underwear as part of its latest clothing collection just ahead of Pride Month in June. Which, I've got to say, I went into the Target, my local Target here, and I didn't see any of that shit, so...
Why
I
would
don't
you
know if
go
they're
into
not.
Target?
I have a gift card, which means they already have the money.
Yeah, I guess if I had a gift card, I'd go into.
And they didn't have anything I wanted, so I have to go back in again.
You just got to go
Uh,
and buy some groceries or something with it.
yeah, maybe. Because they've got, the one by me has a limited grocery segment, but according
Mm-hmm.
to Bustle, Target partnered with Tomboy X and Humankind for the collection, which are both queer-owned, female-founded brands. Merchandise will include the expected rainbow-colored messaging that's become commonplace for these collections. It will also have some new items that a mainstream retailer like Target hasn't sold before. The Tomboy X collection includes undergarments such as chest binders, packing underwear, bras, boy shorts sizes S to 4X. Humankind's line is focused on swimsuit style, including swim trunks, tops, and unisuits.
Just picturing who would wear a 4X boy shorts. 4X. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I tend to be drawn towards thicker women, and I've still only seen only a 1X.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
Like
that's what
you
we
have
see
health
coming
problems if you're fitting a 4X.
off. That is what we are seeing coming off of that. From Fox LA, woman finds box of mail-in ballots on East Hollywood sidewalk. LA County Registrar is investigating.
I wonder how
The
good of an investigation they're going to do.
The Los Angeles County Registrar's Office and USPS are investigating after 104 ballots were found unopened on the sidewalk in East Hollywood. The ballots were found by Christina Rapace, who was walking her dog on Saturday evening. I turned the corner and I just saw this box of envelopes, and it was a USPS box. I picked some envelopes up, so I saw there were ballots, said Rapace. She said she took them to her home for safekeeping. While trying to figure out what to do next, she sent videos of the ballots to popular social media accounts to share the content and ask for guidance on the next step. Rapace said she called several politicians and the LA County Sheriff's Department. Basically, the Sheriff's Department gave her a runaround, told her to contact the USPS, and then the USPS sent her out to the Registrar's office, and the Registrar himself personally drove to pick up the ballots.
Wow. Well, I'm glad she took video and stuff of it first and got it out there before she called anybody, because otherwise this would have just been swept under a rug somewhere. No one would ever know about it. Don't you think?
Probably.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are a lot of questions here. I mean, you can't really do a lot of honking in California to begin with because it's so solidly blue. Like, if this was out of Indiana or something, I'd have a few more red flags raised, but
Yeah.
I think Indiana defortified anyway, didn't they?
I have no idea.
But that's what we see coming off of that. From the Blaze, Biden's incoming press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, called Fox News racist.
Of course they did.
President Biden's new press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, called Fox News a racist network in early 2020, adding to a growing list of controversial statements she's made that are now being scrutinized as she prepares to take over for red-haired bobblehead. In fact, today was her first day. We've actually got video of when she said it here. She tweets that out proudly on March 15th of 2020, saying Fox News is racist, or was racist rather, before coronavirus. They're racist during coronavirus, and Fox News will be racist after the coronavirus. In a panel on MSNBC, let's listen.
Was racist before coronavirus. They are racist during the coronavirus. Fox News will be racist after the coronavirus. So there is nothing new here. I think the difference is they are all in on being state TV for Donald Trump. And so they will continue to give them misinformation. The danger is, so yes, you have Asian Americans right now whose lives are seriously in danger. And you have their own viewers who can now, the ones who are 60 and older who are watching, this is a health crisis that we're in. This is a global pandemic, as the WHO has said, and they're putting their lives in danger. And so that is where we are right now, is the danger that Fox News is now, what they're putting out there is going to hurt people and not help them.
I know the audio sucked on that one, but
I noticed that they never name any examples. When they have these big claims about racism or whatever else, they never can cite a specific example. Ever.
Well, there are a couple things that go along with that too, especially on a conflict of interest. Number one, because she's going to be interacting with Fox News directly from the press box. I mean, how is that going to affect how she does her job? And number two, it has also come out that she's dating one of the top end execs in CNN. Like live-in dating.
Of course she is. Of course she is.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
open,
this is
remember,
this is
she's
not
openly gay.
great for the Republic. This is not great for the freedom of the press.
No. But that's what we see off of that. Let's grab this one because it's a day that ends in Y. That means we have to talk about this crazy bitch.
Oh my God. She's got such crazy eyes. I hate this woman.
Unfortunately, that hair color and eye color combo is kind of my weakness, so she might be bumping AOC out for me. But she's telling us that it's actually not conservatives that are getting banned from Twitter. It's liberals. Let's listen.
There's already this idea, this allegation that there is anti-conservative bias on the platforms, even though there has been study after study proving, in fact, that often it's liberal voices that are being silenced, particularly minority voices on social media. So I think we're going to see more allegations of that. There's already this idea.
Wow. Wow. I mean, having just gone through some things happened to me recently. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
I put that up there before all this happened too, so.
Yeah, I actually took a whole day off of Twitter, so I didn't see a lot of stuff over the weekend. But this lady's crazy if she thinks that I've seen some crazy stuff done by leftists. And I mean, they're like actually calling for death and stuff on the leftists are on Twitter, and they don't even get a timeout or anything. And I post one little meme, and I'm just banned from the platform with no explanation.
Speaking of Twitter, Elon says he would reverse Twitter's Trump ban. From CNN, Elon says that he said on Tuesday, that he would restore former President Trump's banned account on Twitter if his deal to acquire the company is completed. Musk remarks that the Financial Times Future of the Car conference marked his first public acknowledgement of what had widely been expected since the billionaire announced his plan to buy the social media giant for $44 billion, which, by the way, that is on hold right now. And I don't know all the details of it, but it does sound like he's evaluating whether or not it's worth the $44 billion because of the amount of bots that are on that.
Stock is going to drop like if you have Twitter stock right now, sell that shit.
Yeah.
If this sale does not go through, I mean, it's going to be like my Coinbase portfolio real quick.
Oh, yours too, huh? So... this is the thing that the left has feared the most, too, the fact that it's possible that Trump could be back on the platform. What do we do?
Everybody still has access to a block button, right? Like, I don't see the issue. You don't like what somebody's saying, you block them.
And these people that are doing this now, that's what they used to be. I mean, hell, Jay-Z even had a lyric like that in one of his songs. You don't like the lyrics, you can press fast forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Elon, feds have opened an investigation into Elon Musk, according to a report. So the U.S. government is reportedly opening an investigation into Elon's Twitter business dealings surrounding his recent $44 billion purchase of Twitter. The SEC is probing Mr. Musk's tardy submission of a public form that investors must file when they buy more than 5% of a company's shares. So they're opening a full-fledged FBI investigation into him because he was 10 days late on his SEC paperwork.
Here's the thing. I think that Elon did this strategically. It's just my opinion because whatever the fine is, I forget, I looked into this, but whatever the fine is, he will end up making more by the price jump of the stocks than what the fine is. So I think this was a strategic move to do his paperwork later, make the public announcement late.
Well, yeah, and I mean the public puts all of its scrutiny onto him too when they do something like that, so they can see what's actually going on, and people are starting to look into what's actually happening over on Twitter too.
Exactly.
You're actually the second person that I've heard say that it could have been strategic.
I mean, I did go to business school, and I'm not using that degree for anything else, so I might as well evaluate Elon Musk's Twitter stock purchases.
Yeah, I mean, Sticks pointed out too. I mean, you don't get to be the world's richest man by flaunting the law and doing things
Exactly.
wrong and filing paperwork wrong too. So,
hmm Yeah, this was not a oversight on Elon's part.
and speaking of federal judges, the judge, well, this is a local judge, but judge agrees to stop fining Donald Trump $10,000 a day under certain conditions. A judge in New York on Wednesday said that he would purge his contempt fining against the former president, provided he met certain conditions by the end of the week, including paying a daily fine that had accompanied the order. Arthur Engeron held Trump in contempt, fined him $10,000 a day for failing to comply for a subpoena for documents that he says up and down he doesn't even have, issued by the New York AG's office as part of a civil investigation into Trump's business practices.
Like, he can't give them stuff he doesn't have. I don't understand. This is like, it's just ridiculous. I think the same thing was happening to Alex Jones, wasn't it? They were asking for stuff he didn't have.
Yeah. Well, this goes on to talk about the fact that, they're asking for affidavits for that, which looks like they're coming back out of this to do this. But the thing that really pissed a lot of people off about this, a lot of people on the left who are saying, just prosecute him already, put him in chains, is the fact that he's not paying the fine right away. He has to put it in an escrow account because he's got an active appeal to the fine.
Yeah, exactly. And as
And
long
they're
as he's
pissed
doing
about
that, as long as he's doing that, then they can't do anything about it. If he's putting it in the escrow like he's supposed to, like, they can't put him in chains. Like, I don't think they could put him in chains for that anyway.
Oh, they so desperately want him arrested and
Oh,
held
yeah,
out
they
and done
want
the
it.
frog walk. And
I mean, they probably want you and I arrested too. If they saw this show. So good thing you don't always get what you want.
speaking of people not getting what they want, you're right on fire with the transitions for this one here.
You are welcome.
California ban on selling semi-automatic guns to adults under 21 is unconstitutional. The Ninth Circuit rules. From the USA
Yeah,
Today.
that's what shall not be infringed means.
A U.S. appeals court ruled on Wednesday that California's ban on the sale of semi-auto weapons to adults under 21 is unconstitutional. In a 2-1 ruling, the panel of San Francisco-based, not San Francisco's based, although you can see where I get confused. Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said Wednesday that the law violates the Second Amendment's right to bear arms. And a San Diego judge should have blocked what it called an almost total ban on semi-automatic centerfire rifles for young adults. America would not exist without the heroism of young adults who fought and died for our Revolutionary Army, Judge Ryan Nelson wrote. Based.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that they're willing to draft these kids at 18. Also, California has a lot of mountains and farmland where people need to be armed because there's bears and mountain lions. They have a bear on their dang flag. That's how many bears are there. So, it's I understand that people in Los Angeles don't get it, but when you don't live in a city, you need to have a gun on you. You just have to for safety.
So that's what we see coming out of that. More Trump news. He's done being held in contempt, but the feds have launched a grand jury investigation into Trump's handling of classified info.
Yep.
Federal prosecutors recently launched a grand jury investigation into the handling of classified information by former President Trump, according to 2 people familiar with the probe, unnamed of course. Sources told the New York Times that the investigation will deal with the White House records taken by Trump to his home in Florida after the end of his presidency. Trump took 15 boxes of White House records, including government documents, mementos, gifts, and letters, to his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida. And that is literally all that we know about this right now.
It sounds very familiar to what Hillary did, yet nobody was trying to prosecute her.
She had the right letter next to her name.
Exactly.
from what I understand, everything that was in there was declassified by Trump. So,
Yeah.
and nobody else had access to this. So I think this is just a chance for them to go back out and find his records and try to find something else to pin on him.
And the stuff that Hillary had was not declassified. It was classified.
So that's what we see off of that. So I know we're going to talk about the speech later, but I just thought this was too funny to wait on. Biden used the term ultra MAGA after 6 months of research. Now Republicans have put it on T-shirts.
Of course they did. What did they think was going to happen? Like, there's so many Twitter accounts right now with ultra MAGA in their name. Like, come on. It's a great name. And the Ultra King MAGA or whatever it was, of course they're going to run with that. That's a great name. Thanks for doing our marketing for us, Biden. Appreciate that.
Well, the thing is, and like, I don't care about this because this is the kind of government excess that usually goes on. But I do want to know, because the government deals in no-bid contracts. And by the way, this came from, it's not Save America PAC. Who did the research on this? Focus group Hart Research and Global Strategy Group, which Hart Research is a well-known one. And then there was another one that they did. I can't find it in here. Center for American Progress was the other one. Those are both no-bid contracts for 6 months of research. How much do you think that cost them to be wrong?
I was going to say billions, but probably not. Probably millions.
I would say probably in the least the 8-figure range, 50, 70 million.
Several tens of millions.
To go back and give Donald Trump a new slogan.
Yeah.
Good job. Dr. Fauci is back in the news. I'm sorry, St. Fauci, not Dr. Fauci. St. Fauci. St. Anthony of Fauci, the patron saint of medicine. Fauci says he would not serve under Trump again.
Good. We don't want you here, Fauci. You should probably just go ahead and retire at this point.
He's the highest paid member of our U.S. government, by the way.
Yeah, he's a doctor, don't you know?
St. Anthony, the chief medical advisor to President Biden, gave CNN's Jim Cocksucker a plain no when asked if he would work again with the 45th president. If you look at my history and what the response was during the administration, I think you know, at best, you can say it wasn't optimal, Fauci said. History will speak for itself about that.
How many times could Fauci be wrong about something and then everyone just ignores it and he keeps his job? It's insane.
It is. So we bid him a fond farewell.
Absolutely.
Some Netflix news. Netflix fires major warning shot at its woke employees with a new culture memo from the Daily Wire. A new corporate culture memo from Netflix is taking a hardline stance and attempts to silence artistic expression by warning those who are offended by the streaming service's content that they may want to go find a job somewhere else.
Wow.
Variety reports that a change in Netflix's company culture appears to be in large part due to the backlash the streaming service faced from woke employees last year over its Chappelle special, which employees claimed was transphobic. Those employees have never seen the special.
Yeah, exactly.
If you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you, the memo states. Later adding that employees may be required to work on projects they perceive to be harmful, and that if they have a hard time accepting their work assignments, they may want to consider working elsewhere.
So basically, if you're a big baby who can't handle it, you should just go somewhere else. And since Netflix is the wokest of the streaming platforms, like, I don't know where else they'd go work.
And I can't believe, by the way, that that's even the case, because Disney Plus exists.
Oh, yeah.
And Netflix is still worse.
Disney. Yeah. I don't know. Disney's pretty bad, too.
No, Netflix is worse.
I don't really ever go on.
Experiencing both.
I have access to a Disney Plus account, but I rarely click on it. Like, unless there's something specific coming out that I want to see, and that hasn't happened in like a year.
Yeah, it's my question here, and Arbolt points out correctly, this policy cuts both ways, but my big question to this is this a damage control because they're losing money left and right now. People are jumping off there. All the good content is going to other platforms.
Their stock has dropped so much. Like, not, I already know all stocks have dropped, but theirs is just, it started plummeting even before. When all this woke stuff with Chappelle came out, people are just canceling their subscriptions left and right, or not renewing them. And they're panicking. It's panicking.
Well, one of the big things to that is, I mean, all that they really have left is a lot of a couple series here and there for the most part, but all of the stuff that they had that was cool has migrated to another platform.
Yeah.
All the Disney and Nickelodeon teen shows have gone to Paramount and Disney Plus, their own parent networks.
Ozark is over now. There's no need for me to have Netflix anymore.
All the Star Wars stuff has gone over to Disney Plus. All the Trek stuff went over to Paramount. All the good sitcoms went over to Hulu.
For so long, Netflix had zero competition, and now they're overwhelmed with competition. So they cannot pick and choose what they're going to put on their platform. They need to, whatever they can get, put it on there if it's going to draw an audience. And the comedy specials do draw an audience. So,
they do.
You know, what are you going to do?
Yep. So that's what we see off of that. From CNN, a little bit of update from Florida. Tentative settlement valued at $997 million reached with families of victims of the Surfside condominium collapse. Reading from here, a tentative settlement of worth nearly $1 billion has been reached with multiple entities over the collapse last year of a residential building in Surfside that killed 98 people, according to an attorney for plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit that, for a long time, our friends to the left tried desperately to pin to Ron DeSantis.
Yeah. Yeah, and what did that end up being? It was like something with the structural engineers or something, right?
It was something with, it had something to do with, it was internal to Miami-Dade. Like, it was their local inspector had something to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron DeSantis doesn't have anything to do with this.
A large portion of the Champlain Towers building collapsed in the middle of the night on June 24th, 2021. The victims ranged from a year to 92 years old. We're pleased to give this recovery to the victims, which we think is extremely meaningful, and a big step towards bringing them closure rather than this horrible tragedy, Tropin told CNN.
It's amazing that more people, I mean, I think God was looking out for people that day, because for only 94 or 97, whatever you said, people, like, that was an apartment building in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. Every apartment had people in it. So, I mean, either people weren't home or, like, just somebody was looking out for those people.
Yeah, I mean, this was not a small condo building. I mean, look at the size of it
exactly.
right from there.
There had to be hundreds and hundreds of people
in that section.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the fact that only one little section fell, well, not little, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Only one section fell and not the whole thing.
Yeah. So, well, we do hope that there's some closure to the families with this. We got one more here. This one I haven't read yet. I had this on the schedule for Contemporary, but I'm like, I ran out of time. We had to go listen to the Daily Ignoramus instead. But from The Blaze, woke Arizona high school counselor who helped organize a drag show for students is arrested and accused of having sex with a 15-year-old girl.
Of course. Is anyone surprised by this story?
No.
Yeah, not at all.
A former Arizona high school counselor. Oh, it was a counselor, too, on top of it. It said teacher up here. Horrible. No, it does say counselor. Never mind. Who previously helped students organize a drag show, was arrested and accused of having sex with a 15-year-old girl, according to police. The Tucson Police Department's Child Sexual Assault Unit received a report of an inappropriate relationship between Zobella Brazil Vinick, 29, and 15-year-old student, unnamed, at a Tucson High Magnet School. At the time, Vinick was the counselor of the Tucson High Magnet School. Authorities launched an investigation into the claims on May 3rd. On May 4th, the detectives from Tucson Police Department's Sexual Assault Unit informed the admin of Tucson High Magnet School of an ongoing investigation into one of its counselors, Zobella Brazil Vinick, read the statement from the Tucson Unified School District. Superintendent Gabriel Trujillo, the admin was informed of an alleged inappropriate relationship between the counselor and a 15-year-old student from Tucson High.
And they get mad when we call them groomers.
They get big mad.
It's every single, maybe not every single, but it's a lot. This happens a lot. And it's horrible. Just leave the kids alone. Just leave the kids out of it. Like, why are there so many progressive, woke, pro LGBTQAII plus dollar sign people? Like, why do they want to have access? Why do they want to be in the schools and have access to the children? It's ridiculous, and this happens over and over and over again. And there's still people on the right that will fly the rainbow flag. I don't understand it.
Because they are told that it's love is love, man.
That's fine. I think just keep it away from the kids. How about keep the sex away from the kids? I don't care if it's gay or straight or what. Just all of the sex. Keep it away from the kids.
I mean, you know what Captain Tennille said, don't you?
No.
Love will keep us together.
No. Yeah, adults. Keep the adults together. Leave the kids out. Just leave the kids alone. Dang. It pisses me off so much.
I know. And now I have that song stuck in my head. All right, let's see what these guys are doing here. Then we're going to go do a little segment talking about Biden and the speeches that he had to come back and put out here. We have got Quest Fanning here. Monsieur Ball, who says, haven't seen you in a while, J. Edgar. Welcome back. I mean, I've been here, but I don't recognize the name, but thank you. Actually, thank you. Grant Katsamata says, was the Irish guy claiming to be a master debater? Well, he reached out to you. He tried to Discord call me, but I had my notification set off, so he failed.
He reached out. Okay, so he reached out to me. He DM'd me on Twitter, asked me to debate him, and I answered as soon as the show was done. I responded. I'm not checking my Twitter while we're on air, so I responded and said, "Yeah, sure. What do you want to have a debate about?" And crickets after that. I even followed him. Never heard from him.
Yeah, he's in our Discord, but he has not said a word since he came back in.
I think that you should probably kick him from the Discord, and if you don't want to do that because of your principles, I'll do it.
I didn't see anything.
Gotcha. Quick note of that. To-do list.
Quest Fanning is back on the D-Live side, telling us that he was a classy dude. I guess Behavior did go and debate him, actually.
Oh, he did? Really? Is this
Streamed
recorded somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know where, but I'll reach out. I'll talk to Chris and see where he's got it out there. So
yes, I would love to see that or hear that or however it's recorded.
Let's see. Grant says, Andrew, senior political analyst at Walk Don't Run Productions.
Yes, that's him. Good guy.
Monsieur Ball says, how romantic. Grant, two suspects from Alabama with the same last name, but they're not related. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Grant says Target will probably carry the pregnant Calvin Klein line. They do carry Calvin Klein, so that's possible.
Those were crazy ads. Did you see those this week?
I have. And by the way, I think it's the same chick in both of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the same couple.
She's got the same.
Yeah.
Is it? I didn't look that close at the dude.
I think so. I thought it was. I don't know. I didn't look that close at him either. I thought it was the same couple.
Let's see. Grant says there won't be an investigation. Remember, the guy had hundreds of ballots in his car in California last election. No report was ever issued for that incident. Mm-hmm. No investigation ever happened. And then Grant, actually, because I know he grew up somewhere in California, I don't know where, but somewhere in California, says, points out properly, honk elections in California aren't about statewide elections. They're about local elections that are close, like Katie Hill's district.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Ball says, must say there's a story on Mexican child prisoners getting milk powder seemed low. Grant says, I'm the same age as Nina No Eggs Jankowicz. Apparently I've met my Delilah. That's always been my weak point, is when a girl has dark hair like that and light colored eyes. Always.
It's like a unicorn.
Not really. Highleaf is here. How are you guys? Sure Ball says Biden's government is full of think tanks. Arvolt is here. Points out if the policy cuts both ways. If you don't like cuties, you can leave too.
Yeah.
Razor says the same thing. The Netflix issue can be a double-edged sword. MK Ultra is here. It says Ozark was so good. I have not seen it.
It's so good. Do you have access to a Netflix account?
Yeah, I pay for the one for my sister and my parents.
Well, I'm just saying if you're looking for something to watch, it's like 4 seasons or something, and it's very good. Also, it was filmed right here. Like, it was the lake that they film on is very near my house.
From what I understand, and I don't know where in the area, but I know that they say it's supposed to be in Encino in California, but the house that they filmed Cobra Kai at is also in the Atlanta area somewhere.
Yeah, they film a lot of stuff here. But the reason I even started watching Ozark is because the lake that Mr. Zed and I take our boat out on, we saw a film crew there. Like, this is many years ago. And we're like, I wonder what's being filmed there. And we found out it was Ozark being filmed there. And so we started watching it, and it is so good. So good. It's like, did you like Breaking Bad, that sort of show?
Never seen it.
Bad. So you've seen all the movies. You just haven't seen any of the good TV shows.
I'm working on filling that back out, but you know I work all the time.
I know. Well, luckily for you, Ozark and Breaking Bad, they're hour episodes. So you can just have a little, 45-minute or hour long, just one at a time, get through it. Although it's difficult not to want to watch the next one, and just spend a whole day watching them.
Yo Mama says Surfside was built on a sandy swamp and cracks in the foundation don't help. And I just want to point out how much I enjoy that name because, you've seen my Twitter bio. You see what my pronouns are in there.
That is my mom.
Nice.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. I changed her Twitter name or her YouTube name for her this afternoon.
Nice.
She picked the name, not me.
Nephilim Ninja is here. Ben Wild is here. Covington is like Hollywood East. I've been there many times. And Nephilim says that lake really floats Katie's boat.
It does. It does float my boat. Hey, Neff.
And with that, we are going to we're going to come back to that, but we are going to talk a little bit about Biden's speech. And I actually almost put this at the end, but so much of the abortion argument right now references back to this. So
yeah.
I wanted to talk just a bit about what's happening here. So Joe Biden gave a speech on Tuesday, basically ridiculing the MAGA agenda for all of his economic problems right now. That buck stops here president that we have that told us on the debate stage that he just wishes that his predecessor would stop blaming all of his problems on other people and take responsibility. The buck stops with me.
Does it though?
CNN reports with this. Biden to deliver remarks on inflation on Tuesday, officials say, and yeah, he's going out. The main point of his speech was going after a proposal that was put forward by Florida Senator Rick Scott, who Biden also mistook as being from Wisconsin, by the way.
Biden has no idea what's going on half of the time. It just gets more and more entertaining. Like, I thought Trump was an entertaining president. Biden's also entertaining. Not in a good way.
Just to go on to the content with this, first off, he's telling us, of course, like we already knew about last week, that This all is coming from the Ultra MAGA agenda. It's the Ultra MAGA. Mm-hmm. And that was the name that he gave out to Rick Scott. Some of the proposals coming from Rick Scott are to address the problem that half of U.S. households do not pay any income tax. And if any of these households, if all of these households combined gave just $100 in yearly tax, that would reduce our deficit by another several billion.
They'll never do that, though.
No, absolutely not. And that, I mean, I do understand in some, especially when all of your money is coming from the taxpayer, why that might come out to be a hardship.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to talk just a bit about this, though, because Axios has a good one off of this. Now, the two big ones, of course, is the small income tax increase for half of the U.S. 58% of the U.S. population. And the other half is that he wanted to have a review every 5 years about whether or not to sunset programs like Medicare or Medicaid. Which, honestly, I'm all in favor for.
Absolutely. They need to, I think it needs to be more often than every 5 years. And I really think they need to negotiate the prices more often than they do now. I don't know how often they negotiate the prices, but it seems ridiculous, some of the prices that get paid to Medicare and Medicaid. Or by Medicare and Medicaid.
Well, part of the problem with that is that that's another one of those things that when the government's paying the bill, the hospital can charge whatever they want because they know the bill's going to get paid.
And that's exactly what happens is they find out, the doctors and whatnot find out how much is the maximum amount that they'll pay, and that's what they charge. Yep. And it bumps up the prices for everyone else. I used to be in the healthcare industry, and we did take Medicare and Medicaid, and you cannot charge Medicaid one thing and the general public another thing. So with Medicare and Medicaid allowing so much allowances for stuff, it drives up the price for everybody else.
So, and I want to touch back with that for just kind of circle back to something we talked about, I think before you joined the show officially when we were talking about the vaccine mandates. Because remember, that was one of the things that the federal government was able to have purview on for vaccine mandates was when the OSHA thing fell through, one of the things that they were still able to have purview for were health facilities that took Medicare and Medicaid payments.
Yeah, and TRICARE too, I think, right?
I don't believe TRICARE. I know that Medicare and Medicaid were the big ones that were on there, which and right at the time, I said that a lot of the reason that we're seeing this ability to go and do this is because so many of these, especially small practices and nursing homes, jump right on that because, like we said, they can charge whatever they want, and the government's going to pay it.
Exactly, and if they calculate out whatever the percentages of their patients that have Medicare or Medicaid, they can't just get rid of those patients because they would go out of business because it makes up such a large percentage, anywhere from 25 to 50% of their total patient base is on either Medicare or Medicaid.
But I mean, and that's how the government got them all hooked. Like, okay, well, you can charge whatever you want and we'll pay the bill.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, get onto our program. And hey, once we have a federal mandate come down for your workers, you can't get out of it like your private competitors can.
Exactly.
So Mitch McConnell came out almost immediately and said that this was in no way a part of the GOP agenda because he's Mitch McConnell. Which is a shame because I'd actually like to see some of this, but the other side of that is, well, first and foremost, taxation is theft. So anything that I can do to see fewer people paying taxes, I'm all about. But as far as the Medicare and Medicaid thing, like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go look into this. It's a wasteful program.
I also like children having health care, but there needs to be a line drawn.
I mean, that's a debate that you and I can have over and over again, and we have had it over and over again as to, how to lower the cost of healthcare and how to make that. And one of the big things for me is I would say that the best way to lower the cost of healthcare is to outlaw insurance for a year.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, possibly, yes. But also, a really good way to lower the cost of healthcare is to have Medicare and Medicaid not accept the prices that are like they need to lower what they are going to pay out for procedures for everything, medication for everything, and that would bring down the price across the board. And
Somebody
less
just opened up
taxpayer
a
money.
small block Chevrolet just down the road from me and left half his tires on the road just in front of the police station.
That's very interesting. I didn't hear it though.
I'm like,
so.
what the hell is that noise?
You sound like Mr. Zed when a helicopter flies over our house. He'll sit in the living room and be like, "That is 2," and then he'll name off like whatever military helicopters. Like he like the Air Force base isn't too far from here, so they fly over our house sometimes, and he can tell you exactly how many there are, what type of helicopter it is. He only gets confused when they're not military helicopters. He's like, I don't recognize that one. It must be a news copter or something. Like, and we'll go out there and look, and it's like, oh yeah, Channel 2 Action News. You know.
So that's what we're seeing off this. But I mean, Biden can't help but put his foot in his mouth when he speaks. So I've got some clips from the speech here that I wanted to share with the audience and talk about what's going on with that. First, he's going to tell us that he's going to explain in simple, straightforward language what's going on. Let's listen.
Be able to even pass them, number one. Number two, I think that, they're not focused. All they're focused on, understandably, is the problem they're facing. They get a 5.5% raise, an average raise in their salaries, and yet inflation exceeds that. And they look around the world, and they know that a lot of it's extremely complicated. And so they're frustrated, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. There's a lot we have to do. But you know as well, I shouldn't say you, I think what I have to do is explain in simple, straightforward language what's going on. Like, the reason why 30% of the inflation last year is because automobiles cost more. Why'd they cost more? They couldn't get the computer chips to make them. People were making a lot more money. They wanted to buy them, be able to even pass them, number one.
Is this the same speech where he said inflation is our strength?
No, I think that's the one that happened the next day.
Is it like what? He's becoming he's going downhill fast. They need to get the new version up and running because he's getting very kind of frazzled and whispery, and like his hair's not in place anymore.
Yeah, I noted that too. Like, it's like he's not doing well.
No, Biden 4 is done. We need to move on to Biden 5. I hope they have it in the Petri dish already.
Let's go on and listen. This is where he takes aim at the Ultra MAGA.
I think what's happened is we have, in a sense, I never expected. Let me say this carefully. I never expected the ultra MAGA Republicans who seem to control the Republican Party now to have been able to control the Republican Party. I never anticipated that happening. I think what's happened is...
I mean, we're going to run with Ultra MAGA. I like it. It's a fun name.
One of the, and this will be the next one that we'll be talking about, is what's happening with the agenda there. But one of the things with that I noticed is, it is what it was. I mean, look all the way back to 2016 and what it was supposed to be. What the Facebook memers were telling us it was, what the boomer tech memes at the time. Like, the picture of Robin Williams from Jumanji when he's comes out of the board with his hair's long and his beard's long. Is like, what year is it? As they explain to the fact that the election is going to come down to between a Clinton and a Bush. Like, they were all in for having Jeb be the guy.
Yeah.
In 2016.
And it didn't happen, and Clinton didn't happen either, and now they just don't know what to do.
But I mean, he's sitting and he says it right off. He expected for his entire, well, not a Senate career because he was vice president at that point and was in retirement, but he expected that, I think that they expected that the Democrats were going to lose the presidency in 2016 because there was enough backlash against Obama and his policies that they could run out and say racism, but they could still have the one that they could control. Like, the Republican Party was going to be the court jester Republican Party, which a court jester is a good name for Jeb Bush, but the court jester Republican Party that just loses gracefully over and over again.
Whatever happened to Jeb? Is he still around?
God, let's hope not.
I haven't heard from him in a long time.
Yeah, well, stop bringing him up, because otherwise that we might hear from him again.
I'll knock on wood.
That is one family that needs to stay as far away from politics as possible.
What, you don't want more wars?
We're getting them anyway.
Not when Trump was in office, we didn't.
Yeah. And now he's warning the GOP will use federal benefits as hostages.
Republicans kind of want to make, Congress want to make Medicare's very existence up for vote over and over again, along with Social Security and Medicaid. Really, ask yourself, how well are we going to sleep at night knowing that every 5 years, MAGA Republicans, if they're still the Republican, as I said, this is not your father's Republican Party, if we're going to have to vote on whether you will have Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and what amounts you'll have in each of those programs. You know what they're likely to do? Use them as hostages every 5 years to get their way on other things. Think about it. Republicans kind of...
Nobody wants to, I mean, I haven't heard anybody that wants to get rid of Medicare and Medicaid completely, but we really need to throttle it down a little bit of the spending. Like, it's ridiculous, the prices that they're paying out on stuff. And because they don't care, it's not their money. It's our money that they're paying. It's not their money.
Well, and realistically, I mean, I accepted long, long ago that there is not going to be a penny of Social Security for me. You might get in under the cutoff yet. There's not going to be a penny of it for me.
Why don't you bring up how old I am some more? Do you want to tell people where I lived too?
I did that already accidentally.
No, but you're absolutely right. I'm hoping that that I get some sort of Social Security. Because Lord, I need it, because I didn't start saving till it was too late. Kids out there, if you are listening to me and you are younger than me, which probably most of you are, start saving now. Like, and don't touch that money, no matter what happens, no matter what emerges. I did start saving, but then life happens, and then you dig into that bank account. So put it in an account you can't access that easily. It's my advice.
Well, and with what happened here, going back to the speech, I mean, Biden and Rick Scott went back and forth with it. Rick Scott actually came and brought up the fact that in one of the speeches when Biden was railing against Rick Scott, he said that Rick Scott was from Wisconsin. Like, Biden cannot do this job.
No,
and of course, that's the latest Republican conspiracy theories that Biden is not fit for office.
He's never, since he's took office, even since he's been running for office, he has never taken or done a speech that wasn't prepared and taken questions that weren't prepared. So I don't think he should be in this position at all to start with. Can you think of any time that he took off-the-cuff questions where he could just answer it and speak on something? Like, we do this every week. We look at articles and we speak off the cuff every single week. Trump used to do that. He would just take random questions from, whatever group of reporters was there and field the questions, no problem. I've never seen Biden take even one question that was not prepared, that he did not have the answer on a little card in front of him or on the screen for him to what the answer is. Not once. It's insane. This is the leader of the free world, for goodness sake.
free world.
You know what I mean.
Well, let's talk about this for a moment, because he's also minted the proper thing to call his predecessor. Let's listen. Oops, this button.
Wrong. Under my predecessor, the great MAGA campaign, the deficit increased every single year he's president. The first year of my presidency, the first year, I reduced the deficit, literally reduced the deficit by 3 wrong.
The great MAGA king.
First of all, I know we don't like taxes around here, but can we at least use a few dollars of the taxes to hire an audio guy? Good Lord. You're the president of the United States. What are you doing? Like, hardwire the audio into the video. What are we doing here? I barely understand that. But King MAGA is a great name, and I'm glad that Trump's running with it, because I think the rest of everyone else would have been running with it even if he wasn't.
Well, and it's interesting when he comes back out and tries to do this, because look at the numbers that we saw this past year. CNBC reports inflation barreled ahead at 8.3%. They were expecting 8.1, which is not good news to begin with, but they tried to use it as good news, but it went to 8.3. Consumer prices, 11%. Consumer price was 8.3. Producer price, 11%.
Yeah, it's insane. Especially since the average person's raise, like yearly raise, is way less than that. So you are not better off now than you were when Biden took office.
Yeah, and I got a pretty substantial raise since Biden took office. And
not
you know
enough to cover the gas prices and the inflation.
No, and I know I rarely read from the Daily Caller here, but I mean, look at this headline without even going into the article. Billionaire CEO says fuel rationing may be around the corner.
Yeah.
This will probably affect you even more because this is on your coast. The CEO of United Refining Company, John Katzimatidis, said Wednesday the East Coast may experience diesel fuel rationing and shortages this summer, Bloomberg reported. Does this sound like we're in a good position right now?
No. Hey, I'll be right back. I'm here by myself and I hear something weird. Be right back.
Okay, I'll take some super chat. Live chat, not super chat. We're not good enough for super chat yet. Tell a friend. Oh, where are we at? Where do we leave off? We left off here. Monsieur Bell says it was all financed by Coke money from the 80s. That's where we left off.
Sorry about that. It was the Amazon guy. We're good. It freaked me out because I can't hear what's going on.
Well, I didn't even find where we started from, so. The other one that went on with this that we were talking about is, diesel fuel rationing, being rationed on the East Coast. Does this sound like we're doing well in this country?
No, not at all. The fuel prices are insane right now. And it's come down a little bit, but not to where it was before Biden took office.
It's come down, but it's back up here.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it's back up. I mean, I don't pay that much attention.
It was 408 the last time I put in.
Putting gas in the car is a boy job, so I just don't pay that much attention to it. It's not my job.
But this also here, and this should terrify everybody that's watching right now, Pelosi is actually pushing a Democratic bill that would give Biden the power to control gas prices.
Yeah. Oh,
Because price controls have worked so many times in our life.
it'll be like $15 a gallon if that happens.
Speaker Pelosi blamed the continued record surge in gas prices on exploitation by oil companies and touted a bill that would essentially allow the president to control the prices. During her weekly briefing, Pelosi touted a Democrat-backed bill called the Fuel Price Gouging Prevention Act, which would allow the president to declare an emergency on energy, giving him the ability to regulate prices by preventing fuel companies from the selling of their products at prices deemed unconscionably excessive and exploiting such an emergency.
I don't see. I mean, he has the power to do this to cut taxes on the gas right now if he wanted to, and every state's governor does too. But they're not doing that. So,
yeah, this is scary stuff. When you're coming in and starting, because what does this do? This federalizes the industry, because if they're not going to make the profit, any profit, because the government controls what they can sell for, they're going to get out of that business. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, what's scary about this is people are going to fall for this. They're going to think throwing more government at something is going to be good for them because people are idiots. Less government is good for you. More government is bad for you, no matter the situation. Even if they're going to lower your gas bill, for a little bit right now, in the long run, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, it is. And they're going to keep doing it because they don't learn from history.
Exactly. It's not even that they don't learn from history. They don't know history. So how could they learn from it?
And really, furthermore, not only just that they don't learn from history, but again, if the government is having to step in and control your fuel prices, does this sound like your country is doing well right now?
No, it sounds like we're Venezuela, like Cloud Racer's saying in the chat.
All right. Speaking of the chat, we are going to get into that because the next one is going to be a little bit lengthy. Okay. So we're going to go talk, and I mean, I don't have a lot of articles up for this, but I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, including stuff that by YouTube I cannot put on the screen. The manifesto, I looked into that. I cannot put that on the screen. They will shut this stream down. Well, we can talk about it.
Okay.
But if they see clips of that, they'll shut our stream down.
Yeah.
But let's see what's going on here. Ben Wild says Covington's like Hollywood East. I've been there many times. Quest Banning had to take off. Grant has only seen the last episode of Breaking Bad.
I read that as it went by on the chat. How do you only watch one episode and it's the last episode? Why wouldn't the only episode you watched be the first episode? I don't get it. Watch Ozark from the beginning, by the way. Don't just watch the last episode.
I was going to say,
won't make any sense.
Check out the last episode.
It will not make any sense at all.
From MK Ultra, healthcare from conception. Nephilim says insurance is a balance for the free market, whereas the government manipulation of the market is the poison pill. MK Ultra says, I saw Biden's fleet of helicopters fly out of O'Hare last week. He had 5.
They usually have more than, I don't know about 5, but I know they usually have at least 3 when the president is in a helicopter.
Highleaf says Trump even had us pull out of Afghanistan, but Biden fucked that up too. Apparently Jeb lives down in Florida and he's a consultant. Your mama says Doc Jill is seen around more often than I think to protect him. Cloudraiser points out that we are wrong. He does take questions. Like, what flavor ice cream does he have?
It is interesting that Jill is around more than any first lady I've ever seen. Jill's around more than Hillary was. Isn't she? She's at every single appearance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody's got to lead Grandpa back when he starts saying stupid shit.
Yeah.
Ben says, we're building back better, people. You just need to lower your expectations. Apparently, where MK lives, which I know where that is, and he's probably not wrong on that. It's $4.85 this morning on gas.
It's insane. I want to say it's like $1 less than that here. The last time I paid attention to a sign, anyway.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah.
It was $4.08 the last time I put 3/4 of a tank in, because that's where my debit card kicked out, was 3/4 of a tank. $75.
Yeah.
It was $4.08 then, and typically Janesville, which is the closest big city to me, is 10 to 15 cents higher than what it is in Madison, and that's what it was in Madison this morning. It was $4.08.
Wow.
So I didn't look today when I went down, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be worse.
Mm-hmm.
MK asks what price control is. And Cloud Reza said it's Venezuela. Price control is where the government controls what the price is for something. And typically especially in a case with like gas, it's going to be something, because they're posting record profits. Well, you've inflated the currency 8.5%. Of course they're posting record profits. You're using the old financial numbers.
All right, so I just Googled what the price is in my zip code, and it's anywhere from $3.70 to $3.90 a gallon.
Holy shit!
Like the $3.70 is at like Costco and Sam's Club. $3.90 at like the regular Kroger gas station. So yeah, much cheaper, like a dollar cheaper here.
Price control is the poison pill to industry. That's what it is. So, yeah, there is that. All right. Are you ready to talk about the violence over the weekend?
Yes.
So, 3 incidences that I have on stories here. Apparently there was a 4th one in a Houston flea market that I know absolutely nothing about. But we're going to start with one that happened on Friday in my neck of the woods. Reading from WISN 12, Bucks Game 7, Deer District, watch parties canceled after mass shooting because there was a gigantic shooting in the downtown area of Milwaukee where I don't know if anybody actually died, but it looks like there were 13 people injured throughout 3 shootings.
I have not heard about this. I'm assuming it's joggers, since it's
yes.
Not
there was some jogging going on around this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I hadn't heard it. hadn't heard about it.
Well, and it actually made big news for like a day, and then the Buffalo one happened, and everybody forgot about this one. In the middle of a watch party, as the 4th quarter was winding down, it was 3 gunmen in this one. The lone gunman was Buffalo. 3 gunmen came through the Deer District where they were having watch parties, massive watch parties at bars, several outdoor bars within the 3rd Ward, and opened fire.
Just because, or was it like gang violence? What happened? We don't know.
Well, no motive was given. The Milwaukee County is actually still trying to decide on what the charges are going to be for this. So we don't even know.
Attempted murder, I think, would be a good place to start for a shooting like that. Or murder. I'm not sure. If nobody died, then attempted murder for sure.
Well, again, there may be the aspect of gang violence to go along with that. Like you said, there may be some other aspect of that. I mean, this yell screams of Sacramento all over again. And again, they did it in 3 separate places. There were 3 separate incidences.
I forgot about that one. Like, it was a bunch of gunfire and nobody was even hit, were they? Or nobody died, at least?
No, people died in that one. Sacramento people died.
Oh, they did.
It was New York where nobody died.
Okay. Oh, the train thing. There's too many to keep straight in my head, and I usually pay attention to stuff like this. It's so many back to back to back right now, I can't keep track of them all.
Boy, that sounds like an election year, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? It sounds like they're coming after our guns right now with all these shootings going on. It's not even that they're always going. All these shootings are always going on, but the fact that they're in the mainstream news means that there's going to be, I mean, they're going to talk about magazine size. They're going to talk about like, having a grip attachment on your AR, like all the stuff for the guns that weren't even used in these shootings. That's what we're going to hear about. I mean, the Buffalo shooting obviously had an AR, but
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a moment. But I don't know that they are going to come for our guns particularly, but I think there's going to be a lot of question of, hey, give us Senate control because otherwise these shootings are just going to keep happening.
interesting that these shootings are happening in places where there are already very strict gun laws, like New York and California.
Well, yeah, that's that was actually mentioned specifically in the manifesto
Yes, it was.
by the
He
maniac.
specifically chose New York because of the strict gun laws. He knew he wouldn't come up against anybody who's just like, if you walk into the supermarket down the street from me, there's probably a 50% chance that you're going to see somebody open carrying, and there's a 100% chance that there are people concealed carrying in any given supermarket anywhere around me. And I know that because it's usually me.
Well, going further on this and going into the other ones before we get into the big one here is that on Sunday, there was at least 1 deceased and 5 wounded in a shooting at a California church. This is in Laguna Woods, California, in Orange County. All victims are adults and are en route to the hospital. The sheriff's department said in Orange County in a tweet on Sunday, 1 victim is deceased at the scene. This appears to be David Chow of Las Vegas, named as a suspect on Monday by the sheriff's department. He was booked on 1 felony count of murder and 5 felony counts of attempted murder, the department said in a tweet. And this was another one that was like top story news on Twitter.
Yeah. And then it just disappeared. Yeah. I mean, I don't know why it would 1 person dead. It's like there's shootings where there's 1 person dead and several people injured every weekend in Chicago, every weekday probably too, in the summertime in Chicago. You never hear about it. It's not even on the local news there. That's how often it happens.
Yeah, and again, I think that I think that the anti-white crowd thought they scored a slam dunk with this because this actually happened at a reception for a predominantly Asian congregation in a Presbyterian church that splits its church. So there's one congregation that's traditional, and then one that's predominantly Asian for Taiwanese immigrants.
And it happened to be the Taiwanese service?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
It actually wasn't a church service even. It was, there was, I believe, a new pastor was coming in, and they were having a reception for him, a reception luncheon after the service. But when they found out that it was some 60-year-old Asian guy, like, shit, we can't spin this.
We can't do anything with this.
So there's that. But the big one that happened this week happened in Buffalo, New York, and we talked about it already. The Associated Press is the first to report it. Says 10 dead in Buffalo supermarket attack. Police call a hate crime. So let's read a little bit about what happened here, and we'll talk just a bit about this and some certain things that we can't actually put on screen. So, a white 18-year-old wearing military gear and live streaming with a helmet camera opened fire with a rifle at a supermarket on Buffalo, killing 10 people and wounding 3 others Saturday in what authorities described as racially motivated violent extremism. Police said he shot 11 black and 2 white victims before surrendering to authorities in a rampage that he broadcast live on the streaming platform Twitch. Later, he appeared before a judge in paper medical gown and was arraigned on a murder charge. It is my sincere hope that this individual, this white supremacist who just perpetrated a hate crime on an innocent community, will spend the rest of his days behind bars, and heaven help him in the world, the next world as well, said Kathy Hochul, breaching her position as an executive, by the way.
Yeah.
Speaking near the scene of the attack. I don't think I saw anybody, I didn't even mention it this morning, but I don't think I saw anybody mention the fact of her statement on this whole thing.
That was the first thing I watched about. I didn't even know what was happening, and that statement is the first thing I saw about this.
Patron Gendron of Conklin, New York, traveled about 200 miles, staked out the supermarket the day before, left an, at the time, easy-to-find manifesto detailing what it was he was about to do, and several dozen pages of technical specifications for everything that he had planned to use, and 40 pages of copy-pasted memes from 4chan.
I did see that. The Sam Hyde thing kind of got me. You don't want to laugh when you're looking at a manifesto like this, but it was kind of hard not to giggle when I scrolled down and saw Sam Hyde.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I have actually seen the video of this. Now, obviously, the Associated Press isn't going to show that anymore. I've seen the video. It's horrifying.
It really is. I've watched it a couple of times today, and it's really sad. And I prayed for those people, and I prayed for the suspect too. It's really horrifying. If you can't handle stuff like, I would not recommend watching this one.
If you can even find it still. Like the legitimate only reason that I have seen the video at this point is because the preview was still active in the Discord server. Like, I went to go follow the link, and it's taken down on the link.
Yeah, all you can see is the first, it's like a minute and a half or something.
Well, that's all that's ever been available. Twitch took it down almost immediately.
I thought it was the whole thing.
No, Twitch shut it down after 1 minute and 4 seconds. Somebody went out and told the mods at Twitch that, hey, somebody's live streaming a shooting, and the good folks over at Amazon said, shut it down.
Which is kind of crazy. I mean, I understand you don't want to stream it out, but if they're recording their crime, like, wouldn't you want that as evidence?
Fair, but
maybe stop the stream and keep the recording going somehow. I don't know if Twitch has the capability to do that. You would think they would. They're a pretty big platform, you know?
Yeah, they're owned by Bezos. But yeah, it shut down after that point. And again, I do want to say thank you to Errors over on the Porch Boys server for posting that in NSFW, because even though, like I said, the link is dead, the preview is still there.
Yeah.
And I know, like, a lot of you aren't on the Porch Boys server, but that would be one to go back and check out, because it is. I mean, if you've got a strong enough stomach to go back and to be able to see something like this, it is. But
it's not as bad as the Christchurch one. I watched that whole one as well.
See, I didn't get to see that one.
Oh, that one was worse, I think.
But yes, he came out live stream. The first victim, oddly enough, was because they say they targeted this place, and he said in his manifesto he targeted it because of the black community. But first victim was that chubby white girl that was walking around. She was dead before she hit the ground.
Yeah, she was. Which, I mean, she didn't suffer.
Yeah. And the one that really turned my stomach for that was right at the very end. Right before Twitch got word of it and cut the stream off. And some of this actually starts to make me wonder if this is not honky. Well, I know this is honky honk and glowy glow. But the fact that they were able to leave it on just long enough to show the guy point the gun at a white cashier on the ground, and then apologize to him for scaring him.
There was another white guy that was like coming out of an office right before that happened as well that he did shoot. So at least it looked like a white guy to me.
I couldn't tell, and I can go back and look because it's still available in that Discord server. But
yeah,
like it dawned on me when I was watching. Like, they left that part in where he stopped, didn't shoot the white guy on purpose.
Yeah. The part that got me was, as he's walking into the store, he shot people through the window. And when he comes through the door, you can see the people that he shot on the ground, crying, moaning, screaming. And then he shoots them again. And that part just was gut-wrenching to me. It was just so horrible.
Yeah, the headshot when he came back around the corner. Like, he went up the corner, turned back around, and...
Oh, God. All right, we got to stop talking about the video because I'm picturing it in my head and I'm going to start crying again.
Yeah, it's one of the hard parts because I can still clearly see this.
Yeah, it's horrid.
I want to talk a bit about the manifesto, especially because that first thing, I went out, did some clay shooting on Saturday with some friends.
Yeah. I
didn't know about this until like 6, 7 o'clock at night. Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I was blissfully unaware until I got home because I took a wrong turn, and I'm the kind of person, like, if I take a wrong turn, I don't use GPS to get back. I just try to find my way back on my own. So I took a nice 2-hour drive on Saturday after I got done at the range. I didn't know about this until 7 o'clock Saturday night. And I saw 2 posts about it on Twitter when I got home, and I looked at it and I said, yeah, that's fake. That's glowy.
Your tweet about this on Saturday night about, a shooting on an election year, something along those lines. I forget exactly what the tweet said. The very last tweet I liked, and then my account was suspended. I hit like.
Oh, that's what they bought you for.
I hit like on that tweet, and then all of a sudden, none of the buttons were working, and then the screen pops up. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but a screen pops up. Telling me that I was very bad and I violated their rules.
Well, sure, my follower count's going up.
To check my email for more information. Yeah. So this was your tweet was the very last one I liked with that account.
That was after the California one.
Oh, was it?
Where's the one? This one right here. Let me bring that back up for you. What? You mean there was a highly publicized store shooting with a long rifle and a manifesto in an election year? I'm shocked.
Yep. Does it even show that I liked it anymore, or since I've been suspended, does it take that like away from you?
It is gone.
Oh, that's sad.
Like by Anna Baltus, Darth Calvin, John Arquist, and Katie LaFuerte.
Oh, well.
But no KTZed. I didn't give that comment a like, and I should have. Live on-air production. On-air Twitter usage, I should say. So that's where we come from this. Now, the manifesto, if I hadn't figured out already that this was a glow-up, like if I hadn't gone into this knowing already, as soon as I nailed down the details of what happened there, the manifesto would have sold it to me.
I didn't get through the whole thing. I started to read it yesterday, and then I tried to go back to it today, and I couldn't get it to pull up. So I got to about the page 4 or 5.
Yeah, and when I read through it, it's like I read the thing cover to cover.
Yeah. I should have done that yesterday when I had it up on my phone, And then I got distracted because I'm blonde and a woman. And I'm like, I'll get back to this later. And then it was gone.
I wonder if I can still get that at this point. Now you've got me curious as to whether or not I can. Where did Putz put that?
I think it was in the not safe for work section, right? Or that was the video.
Oh, you've got to download this one. So MediaFire still has it a downloadable.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I saw it, because I have it downloaded as a PDF. So it's still out there, it's still downloadable, but just getting the actual open aspect of it does not work at this point. Yes, you're correct on that. So, getting back to where we were, some things about that. First and foremost, a large part of the manifesto was copy-pasted from the Christchurch shooting.
Yeah.
I figured that out almost immediately.
Yeah, but he says it in the manifesto, doesn't he?
He did not say that, but he said that he was inspired by the Christchurch shooting.
Gotcha.
And then he had this lengthy, cringy Q&A section that went along with that. Like, why are you doing this? Do you think people will know that you're... Well, what about people that say you're fed? And, hey, maybe I am. Maybe it's the 2 vaccines that I got. Like, everything read, like every conspiracy theory that the left is trying to paint the right as.
I think he's trying to be trolly.
Do you think?
Why else would you have pictures of Sam Hyde in your manifesto if you weren't trying to be trolly?
See, I would have thought that too, except for it's the weapons side of thing that just reads like a lengthy FBI report.
Maybe it was a Fed trying to be trolly.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've seen police reports for violent crimes, and they do that. They go through the technical specs. They have all the technical specifications. I guarantee it was for Rittenhouse. I haven't seen the police report for that one. But I guarantee you that gun was dissected, and they had every technical specification
of
that rifle listed just the way that this kid, Hong Kong, had his set up.
Yeah.
And it was 70 pages of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it did sound like I said, I haven't read past the first few pages, but from the breakdowns that I've heard of other people talking about it, it does sound very agenty, like very report-y. You know?
Yeah. So, I don't know. And he's out there telling, well, I'm putting this out there. Can somebody change the, I don't think it was the location because he redacted the location that he was going to be doing. Like, when we're done, can you put the location into this for me? Somebody, please.
Interesting.
What's interesting about what's going on with this. Now, of course, we'll talk just in a moment about the fact that gun control is coming, because gun control is coming, obviously.
Because of course it is. Otherwise, these stories would not be on the news. I mean, obviously the New York, the Buffalo one would be because of 10 people. But these other ones where one person died or nobody died would not be on the news.
But he went into length about the fact that he got radicalized from going on to 4chan. You know, that site that they're trying to shut everything down, that the government's trying to shut down. And he used an AR-style rifle. You know, that rifle that the feds are trying to get rid of?
Exactly.
And he did it in a way of racism and talking about white replacement.
Yeah.
And a lot of the, like, I actually got into a Twitter argument with a woman earlier on today trying to tell me that he was law-abiding up until the point that he did this. I said, no, he wasn't.
Bullshit. He had something from high school, didn't he?
Yeah, last year he was he did an overnight for threatening to go and shoot up his school.
Exactly.
That is not a law-abiding system. By the way, by New York law and by federal law, but it's a little bit looser on the federal side, that should have barred him from making that purchase. By New York law, definitely, but the federal law.
Not by federal law.
It is by federal law, but it's a little bit looser. It'd be easier for a lawyer to get around for federal law.
But if you say some stupid shit when you're a kid, that doesn't mean you're barred from owning a gun for the rest of your life. He didn't actually do anything. He just said some stupid shit.
It was the fact that he was overnighted in the loony bin. Should have barred him. The overnight in the loony bin should have barred him for that.
I mean, I don't know what the situation was, so I don't want to speak on it, but
also by New York law,
having laws like that make it so people will not get help when they need help.
Right. I definitely understand that. But yes, he absolutely should have been barred from making that purchase. Another interesting note to this is what he said about himself. Now, this is, again, a part of the reason that I think that this was Fed-opt. And I'm pretty sure that this kid is in Salt Lake City right now with a new name, new social security number, new fingerprints.
Not yet. They need to parade him in front of the cameras a few more times.
You think?
Yeah, for sure.
But regardless, he went back and he turned himself in. But there was a very clear line in the manifesto that pointed himself to be a leftist authoritarian. And now Richard Spencer was almost immediately up on this too, trying to take a shot at 4chan itself and trying to get them shut down for doing something like this, with Richard Spencer himself being openly adversarial to the 4chan platform because they've outed him as gay.
As a leftist authoritarian.
Yeah. But I thought about that for a moment, and I realized the fact that, this was left on Google Docs just long enough for a few people to go back out get this saved to their computers and re-uploaded to other places like MediaFire
Yeah.
as a PDF. It was saved on Google Docs as a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Able to be downloaded as a PDF and then re-uploaded to third-party sites as a PDF.
Yeah.
And that's where it started to dawn on me that this might have been perpetrated, again, A, to go get the guns, and B, to sow more division. Because, I mean, the leftoids are going to come back out and say that because he did a right-wing thing, he did a racist thing, that means he's automatically right-wing.
I just don't understand how they think that racism is exclusively right-wing. It's insane to me.
Because their college professors told them that. It's the same reason they think that National Socialism is a right-wing platform.
Crazy. Like, Richard Spencer is not right-wing.
Financially, no. But he does
know how to make a good burger, so he's enjoyed some good burgers in his time.
Those caramelized onions, I'm telling you.
Caramelized onions, roasted marshmallows, mushrooms.
Roasted marshmallows on a burger, that wouldn't be bad.
No, absolutely not. That's disgusting. Stop it.
Those little crunchy little Lucky Charms ones, too?
Ugh. Those are good marshmallows, though, but not on a burger. That's not hot stuff.
So, with this, yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why this is not a glow up.
We'll never know. I don't think we'll ever know. Do you think so?
I don't know. Tell me a little bit more about the final report that came out about Las Vegas.
Jeez Louise.
Or all the details that we got of the bombing in Nashville. I'm
not as sold on this being an op as I am the New York one. That one I'm completely 100% I don't even think that guy was even in the same area when that happened. I don't think it was him. I don't think that one was just, there was a lot of red flags on that one.
And they keep happening over and over again.
Absolutely they do. Yeah.
The DC sniper, that one got me. The DC sniper. Yeah, you don't remember that one, do you?
No, I researched that. I mean, I know all about that case and the insides and outs, but I didn't think that was an op. The one with the guy and the younger kid from yeah. We'll have to talk about that offline.
Yeah, because I mean it's 7:14 already, so
yeah.
Going on, and for the thing that we all knew was coming for this, reading from The Hill. Democrats call for action after Buffalo, Milwaukee shootings. It doesn't have to be this way. Reading in on some of this, Democrat lawmakers on Saturday responded to the shootings in Buffalo, New York, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that together left more than 10 dead and dozens injured, decrying the violent attacks and issuing calls to action. A review of what happened with this, but now we come back and see the people talking about it. Brian Higgins of New York says, and that's his district that this happened in, by the way, horrified by the mass shooting in Buffalo, we are in communication with local leaders and authorities to offer any federal support necessary. Chuck U. Schumer, I'm actively monitoring the situation where the grocery store shooting in Buffalo. We're standing with the people of Buffalo. If you're in Buffalo, please follow the guidance for local law enforcement. I ache for the victims and the families. I ache for Buffalo. I ache for the tight-knit East Side community. Racism has no place in our state and our country, he added in a tweet. I've spoken with the mayor of Buffalo and offered to help any help we can provide. We stand with the people of Buffalo. My senator, Tammy Baldwin, I'm devastated to learn about the senseless gun violence in Milwaukee last night. My heart breaks for the victims and their families in the Milwaukee community. I hope for speedy recoveries. This is another unfortunate reminder that we must work together to confront the scourge of gun violence. Gillibrand, I pledge to the people of New York I will continue to fight my hardest to pass the common sense gun safety measures and to confront and defeat the scourge of white supremacy. Ted Deutsch of Florida, I know that we can't stop all gun violence, but we can finally acknowledge the refusal to do anything is shameful. The Senate can at least hold a vote on the background check bills we passed, maybe save a life. Today, we are reminded again that we must try. And the last one that we'll do here came from Carolyn Maloney of also New York. Racist extremists are armed to the teeth with weapons of mass murder in this country, and the pro-life party doesn't want to do a damn thing to stop it.
Yep, exactly.
Grab any one of those and jump in.
It's just the same rhetoric. They just wait for something to happen, or they cause something to happen, and they repeat the same lines over and over again. This is nothing new, and it will happen again. Give it a couple of weeks. Maybe not a couple of weeks, but give it a month. There'll be another one, and a month after that, and a month after that, until the midterms. And then you'll start to see the commercials, the anti-gun commercials from Democrats, because they're starting now, and they're getting it in people's head that this gun violence is such a problem, and then they'll start in with these commercials. This is all a big campaign for the midterms, so that the Republicans don't gain any more ground.
Yeah, because, I mean, we're up onto the abortion bill, which, unfortunately, we're going to have to cut for time. That's sitting up there, and they lost that already.
I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of glad we had to cut that for time, because I cannot think about dead babies anymore this week. Just can't do it.
Well, one of the worst parts of that is, and on the other side of that, the Louisiana bill, that failed as well, because I do think that, unfortunately, not a lot of Americans think like you and I do. Now, yes, if you asked you and I think we would both say, outlaw it immediately. Well, I might think about it because I think the government sucks at everything, but we're both in consensus of we want this whole practice to be gone. But I do think the entire country is somewhere in the middle, but I think that there's somewhere to the right of the middle.
Yeah, I think most of the country is like the heartbeat bills that are so Republican and that are passing in places like here in Georgia. That's where most people are at. Like, as long as the baby doesn't have a heartbeat, then you can go ahead and do it. Then it's a clump of cells. By the way, it's never a clump of cells. After conception is a human life. But most of the country doesn't think like I do.
Right, and that's where I want to address all that, because again, it's not a matter when we're looking at something like this, we're trying to sell to the majority of people to get it passed, not necessarily impose our will onto other people. I know that there are friends of ours who would rather just impose their will on other people.
Yeah, well, Louisiana just went too far, I think.
That's where I was going with that. The Senate bill went too far in the other direction. Mm-hmm. Did you read that?
No, I don't read.
I know I said that we probably weren't going to touch on that. I do want to do that one.
I just said
quick.
I was happy we weren't touching on it. Come on. Give me the surprise cringe and let's get out of here.
I want to talk about this for just a sec, just because of the other direction that this is in. So let me get the text of the bill up here. Because they go into detail of what is outlawed in this bill. Because Manchin, they couldn't even get this to 50-50. They knew for all intents and purposes that this wasn't going to pass the filibuster.
Yeah.
But I don't think
it didn't even pass even without the filibuster, though.
Which is funny, because Elizabeth Warren was trying to tell us that, I can't believe that majority in this country can control what the majority is. I'm like, do you know?
She doesn't understand percentages.
Wait
till I tell her about 13% of...
Oh.
Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to talk over you.
I looked into this here, and this is the Senate bill. In Section 3, Permitted Services, a healthcare provider has a statutory right under this act to provide abortion services that may provide services, and that provider's patient has a corresponding right to receive such services without any of the following limitations or requirements. And they have a long list of that. A requirement that healthcare providers perform specific tests or medical procedures in connection with the provision of abortion services, which is your ultrasound, basically, or heartbeat.
Yeah.
A requirement that the same provider who provides the services also perform specified tests, again, the ultrasound. A requirement that healthcare provider offer or provide the patient seeking abortion services medically inaccurate information in advance of or during abortion services. a limitation on healthcare providers' ability to prescribe or dispense drugs based on current evidence-based regimens, or the provider's good faith medical judgment, or other limitation generally applicable to the medical profession. These are all the things that are barred.
Yeah.
A limitation on a healthcare provider's ability to provide abortion services by telemedicine, other than a limitation generally applicable to the provision of medical services by telemedicine. So, by mail, there it is right there. On demand, by mail. They've got several in here. They don't want to have the requirement that you have to be able to go to an emergency room. So if you're bleeding out on the table, that's not going to be able to stop you.
Yeah. Jeez.
And then these ones here, number 9, section 9 was the very vague language, which tells me by the vague language that this is up to birth. Number 8 is a prohibition on abortion at any points in time prior to fetal viability, including a prohibition on restriction on a particular abortion procedure. And number 9, a prohibition on abortion after fetal viability when, in the good faith medical judgment of the treating healthcare provider, continuation of the pregnancy would pose a risk to the patient's life or health.
Insane.
Oh, well,
I don't know how they thought that this would pass.
I don't think they did. I think this was the Hail Mary to come up here and say, because nobody's going to read this bill. None of the leftoids that are arguing that this bill was supposed to limit a woman and this is going to outlaw abortion because this bill didn't pass, abortion is going to be outlawed for the world. None of them know what's in this bill. None of them know how absolutely extreme this bill is.
Insane. Yeah, that is an insane bill.
And then the Louisiana one on the other side of it was just as extreme.
Exactly.
And again, I don't think that I think the country is somewhere to the right of the Senate where, yeah, early term limit. And after that, unless the mother's life is in some sort of jeopardy, or rape or incest. And we've got Nebraska, too, trying to come up and say, oh, yeah, if this is overturned, I'm ready to go back and pass a bill that doesn't take into account rape or incest.
Like, I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to compromise with people's lives, with kids' lives. But I will if it will save other kids.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I don't think Louisiana did that. I think they were mistaken by not doing that.
I think they were playing chicken with the government, to be completely honest.
Well, the amount of abortions that take place because of rape or incest and that sort of thing. Sorry, I had to sneeze. It snuck up on me. The amount it's just such a minimal amount that I'm willing to compromise because of that.
And don't you think that it's really, really weird that this whole formula thing happened to crop up right after we spent a week screaming at each other about whether or not to kill babies?
Have you seen the pallets and pallets of formula at the border right now? Just
I have not seen
warehouses. That. Really?
I have not seen that.
Yeah, all of the formula is at the border right now, at the U.S. Mexican border in those camps that they have down there. So if you're wondering where it is, that's where it's at.
But and that was a major thing before all this happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't become a national story until after all this. And now, in case you didn't realize how evil some of these people are, Katie Porter is going to take it home, and I think that's going to be it off of this. Okay. Katie Porter is going to, and this is the reason that we did the Biden speech before we did this, is going to tell us what she thinks about the economy and what that means for us.
President Biden has said that inflation is the number one priority for the Biden White House to try to get under control right now. As you're out there in California talking to constituents during this re-election year for Congress, how does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those two issues compare?
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other. So the fact that things like inflation can happen and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed. So I think the fact that we're seeing this jump in expenses, that we're seeing people having to pay more in the grocery store, pay more at the pump, pay more for housing, is a reason that people are saying, I need to be able to make my own decisions about when and if to start a family. So I don't think we're going to see them. I don't think it's like about comparing them or contrasting them. I think they reinforce for people just how big of a responsibility it is to take care of a family.
This woman gives Katie's a bad name. It's horrible. Like, it's expensive to have a family. No shit. So just kill your family? Like, just stop. There's so many options for birth control these days. There's absolutely no reason to have to need an abortion for birth control. Like, abortions are not meant for birth control. They never were. And now people are celebrating this. Like, just don't get pregnant. Just don't get pregnant. Either don't have sex if you can't figure out how to use a condom or birth control pills or whatever. And if you accidentally do, then you have the baby and you put it up for adoption if you can't handle, like, oh God, this woman. First of all, what she's saying. Secondly, how she looks. Who dresses like that? Come on. Get your shit together, Katie Porter.
And this is, by the way, all the you may likes over on Twitter. Like, you may like this person, you may like this tweet over here. A lot of them are trying to pull her out of the House and push her to the Senate.
I can't stand her.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'd never heard of her before this issue, and I'm not a fan.
I think that's the same. Didn't she have some big controversy? Didn't she take over somebody's? There was something with her a few years ago. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was something.
The only controversy I know with a Katie in California is Katie Hill.
Oh, maybe that's I might be confusing the two.
But that was the one that was stooping the staff.
Also giving Katie's a bad name. These California Katies are bad news.
Apparently.
I think I was confusing those two Katies, actually. As long as y'all don't confuse those Katies with me. I can confuse those two. They're basically the same person.
All right. I have one last really stupid article. Didn't cover this on Contemporary because I wanted you to be surprised by this.
Oh,
I thought it was funny.
I can't wait.
So, if you want to go and promote the police anywhere, get people to go in and meet the police and find out that they're not really that bad.
Uh-huh.
What is a good place that you wouldn't want to do that?
I don't know.
Where's a place in the country that you would think might cause a problem with that?
LA?
Well, you're close on this one here because our friends in San Francisco from SF Gate
San
are
Francisco.
telling us that San Francisco police held an ice cream with a cop event and it devolved into chaos.
Sounds about right.
Eric King from SF Gate tells us Alice Kim, the owner of Joe's Ice Cream in San Francisco's Richmond District, has hosted several events, including school fundraisers and weddings, at her shop before. When she was approached by a member of the community about hosting Ice Cream with a Cop event with members of the San Francisco Police Department on Saturday, April 29th, she thought it would be like the other community events, calm, cordial, and without controversy. And she was wrong.
Is there video? Please tell me there's video.
There is, but I might not be able to get to it because... Oh, that's Instagram. I might be able to. because I had to archive this because of the ad blocker.
Okay.
I'm going to actually see if I can. People started lining up at 12:30 and police were giving stickers to kids, Kim told SF Gate. Some people came and reported the incidents to police, but when we heard loud music and people shouting through a megaphone, we couldn't understand it because it was so loud. Let's see if I can get to this.
Okay.
Dogtown Dodro is a Fuck12 Instagram account. Yep, there's the video right there. So this is one of the incidences that happened there.
All right.
Black Lives Matter!
Black
Lives Matter! Fuck the police!
These police officers are on trial for murder! That's why they're out here! Y'all should be ashamed of yourself!
Fuck the police!
Fuck the police!
Fuck the police!
This is why they're out here! Why we in an all-white neighborhood?
That's right.
Why aren't you on a mission?
Say that.
189 Fillmore! 189 Bayview! Why is there no roadway here? Y'all not in the hood with us! Y'all don't face the genocide that we face!
That's right.
This your boy, your beautiful
Fuck the police. Some bullshit.
What you say about them, bro? You're not being your money. I'm police people.
Hey, look at this thing.
You don't get them out there. We're not even walk damage somebody's ears.
That's right.
You know Jessica Williams. Don't touch my shit. It's my property. Don't touch.
That poor ice cream worker. She's like, I just wanted to have this event. This doesn't happen by my house. Like we have in my little town that I live in of Redacted, they have coffee with a cop probably once a month. I see it pop up at different locations around the town, and I've never seen anything like this happen. They have little fundraisers to get the little doggies bulletproof vests and stuff. If I'm around, when I was working from home, I would make it a point to go up there and give them a couple of bucks because I like the dogs and I want them to be protected. And everyone's very nice and cordial. It's lovely.
Well, that's not the case in San Francisco. And some lady in San Francisco said, you know what? This is going to be a good idea. And let's go ahead and make this publicized so everybody knows where the cops are going to be.
This is why they can't have nice things. This is why. They ruin it. I just feel bad for that. I feel bad for that ice cream shop worker. She looked so frazzled.
Maybe Biden can go there and go and get their cherry chocolate chip ice cream or whatever the fuck that he likes. 2 scoops.
They will never let him do that. Not in that neighborhood anyway.
Apparently,
Jill will not allow it.
Apparently, that was a very gentrified neighborhood.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. It's just, and he said it on the microphone. There's a reason they did this in this motherfucking white neighborhood.
Yeah, because you people can't control yourselves. That's why. And by you people, I mean the people with that have the megaphones.
I know what you meant.
That's the only thing I was implying. Megaphone handling people.
That's
Cannot
exactly
control.
right, Susan.
Hey, at least they didn't give the megaphone to a woman. Could have been worse.
What do we got going on here? Highleaf says, this is why I always believe in an armed society. MK Ultra MAGA, by the way, has just changed his DLive name.
I saw that.
I'm sure there's always a spike when the weather gets warm. And also pointed out that the streaming service that this person chose was a very, very alt-right streaming service called Twitch.
I'd just like to point out, because I learned this the hard way, when you change your name on DLive for a joke or something, they don't let you change it back right away. You got to keep that name for a month. I was KTZed for like a month and a half.
Nice.
Because I thought it'd be cute to change my name for a joke.
Your mama says, hard to remember, I'm sure. But if you're shot and alive, play dead. Try not to breathe or move. Survivors say that's what saved them.
I agree if you are my mama. However, if you are me, you find cover and shoot back.
I always hear that too. Like, what do you do about the what do you do about the plague of gun violence in the country?
You find cover and you shoot back.
Yeah.
But if you are unarmed, it's definitely a good idea to play dead. Like, if possible, get somebody else's blood on you so you actually look dead.
I don't know who's arguing out there, but I can hear them.
I can hear them too.
Spartan says, we need a civilian investigation unit of these shootings, CIU. Or maybe call it ICU.
That's pretty good.
Highleaf tells us, don't forget about the body armor that they said that he was wearing. Yeah, he was wearing body armor.
I mean,
actually,
it's not unusual for regular people to own body armor, I don't think, is it?
Not at all. Was it that, I can't think of it was Tom something. The Vegas guy. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone either, but...
Look at you with the song references tonight.
God, why can't I think of his last name? I can see his face. I can see him dancing and singing it. I cannot... Yeah, Tom Jones. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was detailing in the manifesto the exact specifications of the armor that he was using, why he was using it, why he chose that over other different types of commonly available body armors. And this store security guard actually took a shot at him, and it bounced off.
Yep.
They also don't want people to own body armor, says Highleaf. Reset this as using corrupt justice system to stoke more division.
Mm-hmm.
Very much. Your mama said, Katie, I thought you didn't want to think about it anymore this week. Yeah, we kind of unfortunately
as soon as I said that, you're like, nope, we're talking about it. Katie doesn't want to talk about it. We're talking about it, definitely. That's how much Ed loves me.
It fit into what we were talking about too perfectly. I wanted to make sure, at least the bill that failed, I wanted to get onto that.
I'm too good at the transitions. That's the problem.
Spartan says, marriage with ladies that are virgins would make abortion unnecessary. The ideology of the left is porn.
Ew.
Nephilim Ninja says, pigs love ice cream, and Spartan will get the last word tonight and say, that is ear damage, assault, arrest him, officer. Yeah, that was really loud. Like, I didn't expect that.
Disturbing the peace or something.
Something?
Yeah.
Well, that's a week of news.
It is.
We're done.
How about that? We made it.
We didn't get through everything, of course, but we got to listen to Katie Porter. I didn't get to show you the cringy protesters, by the way. I'll show you that off air.
All right.
Because they're bad. Do you want to see one? I know you want to see one.
We could do one quick one.
I know you want to see one. Because this person who is saying, keep your laws out of my pussy. And you'll see why it's ironic in just a second.
Yeah. I have a feeling I know what's going to be the issue here.
Keep my laws out of your pussy.
How do you feel about vaccine
laws out of my pussy. Keep your laws out of my pussy. Keep your laws out of my pussy.
It doesn't make sense. You're contradicting yourself.
They're baby haters. They probably.
I feel like that person has the incorrect anatomy to make such a statement.
Why? Why do you do this to me? I would have nightmares. What are you doing to me, Ed?
Well, just wait till that guy goes into a GameStop. It is, ma'am. That was why I did that one, because I wanted to use that joke.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Because I wanted to use that joke right there.
I'm glad we snuck it in there at the end.
So, with that, we're going to head out of here for the night. Thanks everybody who came by, chatted in the live chat, everybody who came and hung out, lurked, listened. I actually didn't get a view count tonight because, for whatever reason, the chat app didn't want to do that. So, you guys may have had 20 out there, you may have had 50 out there, you may have had 1,000 out there, and we'll never know. But for the people who did chat out there, thank you very much for coming by and joining us tonight. Everything that we have here is usually out in the Discord, so you can go fact check and reread all of our articles, all of our notes, and everything that is out there for that. And if you are just catching up now, you want to catch us back on demand, you can find us over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com. You can go check us out in both of those places. You can find us on Rumble, back on demand. You can find us on the audio platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and I will do it this time because I didn't get distracted this time. I didn't get affected, so we'll be up to the audio platform. As soon as this is processed out on YouTube and I can access to the file, we'll get up there. Plus, keep an eye out on the audio platform as well for an appearance with our own KTZed over with the Porch Boys. We'll be pulling the audio for that and putting up. Actually, I have to reach out to Seawall to see if I can get the video or audio file for that. So stay tuned for that as well. Go and check us out on those platforms. And with that, we're going to head out of here for the night. If you want to finish the conversation with myself, you can find me on the Discord that you've seen floating through there, on the guild that you've seen floated through there, on Twitter, that is at EdsBlog Twitter with a 1 in place of the I, and on Instagram at JEdgar101 if you want to finish the conversation with my wonderful co-host. Tell them where they can find you. Tell them where they can find you now.
I know. You can find me on Twitter. Actually, everybody follow my Twitter. It is KTZ is not here at twitter.com or on Instagram as always at kt.zed.
Go and check that out. You can also find you in the Discord. Do you have anything coming up here before we head out of here for the day?
Nothing coming up that I know of.
Then with that, we are going to head out. So go and check us out on all those platforms. And as I always say on this show, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. KTZed, leave them out with some last words.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Take care.